In a rapidly evolving geopolitical landscape, tensions in the Middle East have escalated as Israel's military actions in Lebanon threaten the fragile ceasefire. This development has prompted a stern warning from Iran, with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, cautioning Israel that it will face serious repercussions if it continues its aggressive maneuvers. The situation is further complicated by allegations from Iran's parliament speaker accusing the United States of violating 3 terms of the ceasefire agreement. As these events unfold, the international community watches closely, aware that any misstep could lead to a resurgence of widespread conflict in the region. From Tehran, a correspondent reports on the increasing pressure on the ceasefire. The IRGC's rhetoric has become more assertive, emphasizing potential consequences of ongoing airstrikes and pointing out the violations on multiple fronts, including Lebanon. Iran interprets these actions as breaches of the Ceasefire agreement, which they believe should encompass all fronts across the region. The Iranian perspective is that Israel's continued military presence and actions in Lebanese territories constitute a direct violation of the ceasefire, threatening the delicate balance. Adding to the tension, there have been reports of attacks in various regions, including Lebanon Island and the central province of Fars in Iran. Notably, a drone was reportedly down, further escalating the situation. Iran views these incidents as clear breaches of the ceasefire, which is already strained under the weight of mutual distrust and historical grievances. The IRGC has also issued a navigational directive warning maritime vessels belonging to adversary nations against passing through the strategically significant Strait of Hormuz. This move is consistent with previous statements from Iranian officials who have emphasized the strait's openness to friendly nations while denying passage to perceived adversaries. The Iranian president, Masoud Pezeshkian, has articulated this stance in discussions with international counterparts. In a recent conversation with the French president, he underscored that the closure of the strait is not an act of aggression by Iran, but rather a defensive measure necessitated by the prevailing wartime conditions. This diplomatic communication highlights the complexity of the situation as Iran attempts to navigate international relations while addressing regional security concerns. Despite the heightened tensions, diplomatic efforts are underway. An Iranian delegation is reportedly en route to Islamabad, signaling potential negotiations that could influence the course of events. Initial reports from the Iranian ambassador to Pakistan indicated the delegation's imminent arrival, although the post was subsequently deleted, leaving the details shrouded in uncertainty. Confirmation from Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other relevant bodies is awaited as observed. RS speculate on the nature and objectives of these talks. The discussions in Islamabad are expected to revolve around a 10-point proposal that Iran has put forward to the United States, facilitated by Pakistani mediation. This initiative underscores the fragile nature of the ceasefire and the broader geopolitical dynamics at play. The Iranian side remains cautious, expressing a lack of trust in the process, which is echoed by the Iranian military's readiness for any potential scenario, including renewed confrontation. The army spokesperson highlighted the sentiment, acknowledging the ongoing negotiations while affirming Iran's preparedness for any eventuality. As the situation develops, the international community remains on edge, aware that the outcomes of these diplomatic efforts could have significant implications for regional stability. The interplay of military actions, diplomatic negotiations, and historical grievances continues to shape the narrative as stakeholders strive to prevent a descent into further conflict. The geopolitical situation in the Middle East remains volatile as tensions rise between Israel and Iran, exacerbated by recent developments in Lebanon. The Israeli military's ongoing actions in Lebanon have placed the already fragile ceasefire in jeopardy, prompting stern warnings from Iran. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has issued a firm caution to Israel, indicating that continued military maneuvers could lead to significant repercussions. This sentiment is echoed by the Speaker of Iran's parliament, who has accused the United States of violating 3 terms of the ceasefire agreement, adding another layer of complexity to the already tense situation. A report from Tehran sheds light on the growing pressure on the ceasefire, with the IRGC adopting increasingly assertive rhetoric. They have emphasized the potential consequences of ongoing Israeli airstrikes, pointing to violations on multiple fronts, including Lebanon. Iran perceives these actions as breaches of the ceasefire agreement, which they argue should cover all fronts across the region. From Iran's perspective, Israel's continued military presence and actions in Lebanese territories are seen as a direct violation of the ceasefire, threatening the delicate balance in the region. Recent reports have highlighted attacks in various regions, including Lebanon Island and the central province of Fars in Iran. Notably, a drone was reportedly downed, further escalating the situation. Iran views these incidents as clear breaches of the ceasefire, which is already strained under the weight of mutual distrust and historical grievances. The IRGC has also issued a navigational directive warning maritime vessels belonging to adversary nations against passing through the strategically significant Strait of Hormuz. This move aligns with previous statements from Iranian officials who have emphasized the strait's openness to friendly nations while denying passage to perceived adversaries. In parallel to these developments, an Iranian delegation is reportedly headed to Islamabad, although details remain sparse. The Iranian ambassador to Pakistan had initially announced the arrival of the delegation via social media, but the post was later deleted, leaving the situation unclear. There is anticipation surrounding potential talks, but official confirmation from Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other related bodies is still pending. Discussions are expected to revolve around a 10-point proposal provided by Iran to the United States, with Islamabad acting as a mediator. However, the nature and specifics of these discussions remain vague, further complicated by the volatile circumstances surrounding the ceasefire agreement. The context of these negotiations is characterized by a key element of mistrust, as noted by an Iranian army spokesperson. While Iran remains engaged in negotiations, there is an underlying lack of trust, and the country is prepared for any scenario, including another round of confrontation. The precariousness of the ceasefire agreement underscores the fragility of the regional situation, with any potential misstep having the capacity to ignite broader conflict. As the international community continues to monitor these developments, the potential for escalation looms large. The Middle East's geopolitical landscape is fraught with complexities, and the actions of key players like Israel, Iran, and the United States will likely have significant implications for regional stability. The situation remains fluid, with diplomatic efforts seeking to prevent further deterioration and maintain the tenuous ceasefire. The coming days and weeks will be critical in determining whether diplomacy can prevail over conflict or if the region will be drawn back into the throes of violence.